I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend you.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I kiss you on the mouth.
No, I'm not cool with that. Just, I'm sorry.
One more time.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I mean, I'm dealing with degenerate animals.
I'm disappointed in every one of you. Disappointed in every one of you.
All right, come on.
Honestly, I can't do it no more.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
Let me tell you why.
It's gonna be all right, Nicky. Go ahead, shoot.
We just killed a fucking man.
What are you going to do about it?
You're happy because you got nothing. You don't got a thing. You're happy because you got nothing. Lobito! Got nothing.
I want to get out. I want to get out of this rat hole. I want to get online. I need
BDA boxing.
All right. Welcome everybody to another BDA Boxing Podcast, broadcasting to you live from the True North. It's your good friends to BDA, and I'm glad everybody could be on board for this one. Fellas, we got a very, and I do mean very special show for everybody out there. We're going to be talking about last night's fights. Yes, there were indeed 2 fights, and whatever happens from here on in, there's going to be some interesting developments going on in the 140-pound division, which is now the most packed division out there, I believe. Hopefully, maybe somebody has a different opinion. Maybe you can set me straight. But listen, fellas, thanks again for joining us. Really appreciate it. Before we get down to the fun, let's get the business out of the way. Fellas, you know the drill. If you want to keep the gravy train rolling, you can certainly do so by donating with the Super Chat. It's always better if you join the BDA membership program. That way you get more bang for your buck with special emojis, badges, the whole shebang. But of course, the most important thing, like I said, is that you continue to like, subscribe, and spread that BDA gospel. All right? There's a lot of filthy people out there, spiritually filthy people, and they need to be corrected. All right, fellas? So thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it. Let's give a shout out to everybody out there in the chat. I'm talking about Triple JJJ, Don Ramon Champ, Earl Stevens, Reverend Pickles, One Foot Out the Door. Shout out to One Foot Out the Door. Shout out to Cactus Jack, Shadow Combat, Triple JJJ. Shout out to Triple JJJ says, who else wants to see Crybaby Teofimo and his own life in the ring after his next loss? Come on. We're going to get to that. We're going to get to people's reactions to Teofimo Lopez, whom has quickly become one of the most hated people on the boxing world. Shout out to Rex. Shout out to Team Batman Boxing, 2Pack 13, Rapax Trucking Company. Keep on trucking the Rapax. Shout out to you. Cactus Jack, like I said, Jay Perez, Joker, Eparokua, Vladdy V, Eric Gomez, who says Teofimo is scared of Devin Haney. Well, they're not even the same, the weight division anymore. Shout out to the Quags, Earl Stevens, like I said, Ignorant Boxing, Iceman, Super Sardonic, Sergeant USMC, and many more people to come. I'm sure, fellas, thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it. Who do I have here on the Discord? Oh, I got the Guns and I got the Bucho. Guys, were you were on the last night's show, right? Bucho did a show. Were you there, Gonzalo?
Yeah, I chimed in.
All right. Just wanted to know, just curious. All right, well, let's get down to it, man. Teofimo Lopez scoring what was it here? His debut at 140 pounds, and I think he stopped him in the 7th round, I believe, of a 10-rounder. And I'll give you my take first. I think Teofimo did what he had to do. He was in there against a guy, beautiful matchmaking, by the way, from Top Rank. Because like we said, it was a guy that wasn't going to show up to lay down. He had stamina. As you can see with Manny Robles, he added some wrinkles to his defensive game. Very good, changing levels, leaning in and then leaning back at the last minute to make Teofimo miss and all that. But ultimately, it was a guy who didn't appear to have enough power to really hurt Lopez. Wasn't quick enough, obviously, to unbox him or outwork him. So it was beautiful matchmaking. And this is exactly what the doctor orders for a guy like Teofimo Lopez, a guy who mentally isn't all there. Despite what he says about him being the best and blah, 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 you can tell this guy's fucked up mentally a little bit. And his father doesn't help. We're going to get into that. But this is precisely the type of fight he needed. He needed to fight a guy that he could look good against. That it was going to make him work, don't get me wrong, but that he could actually relax a little bit against. And we saw that in the fight, and now he scored a 7th-round knockout and a stoppage. I got to talk to you about the stoppage, fellas. I didn't like the stoppage. I think it was premature, and I said that on the Discord last night, just briefly before I went to sleep, and there were a couple of people saying, "Oh, why do you want the guy to die?" It's like, obviously, I don't want the opponent to die. But so if the ref wouldn't have stopped it, Campa was going to die? That's what I hear nowadays from certain boxing fans when people complain about a stoppage being premature and they go, what, do you want the fighter to die? That's a strawman argument. Nobody's saying that. And B, how many times have we seen guys get dropped, then they get up, and then the other guy tees off on them on the ropes, and boom, they stop the fight. The guy's still alive. He's not dead. What, one more punch and he's going to die? And by the way, I hate to break it to these fellas, this is I don't know what sport you think you're watching. This is boxing. It's supposed to be harsh. It's supposed to be brutal. These guys are signing up for that, and not for nothing. But a lot of the guys that sign up for this type of stuff, and the guys that make it to this level, they enjoy this type of action. They like the risk. Maybe you don't think the way they do. That's why they're boxers. But they like going in there thinking, "Fuck, I might die," or "This is dangerous." That's what gives them an electric charge. And Gonzalo might know a little bit of what I'm talking about. That fucking guy he used to be a boxer, amateur boxer too, and he was in the military. But this ain't for the faint of heart, fellas. I know it's still a sport, but it's still a brutal sport. And we're paying for guys to go in there and give it their all, and the referee to give them the chance to give it their all. Now, ultimately, I think Lopez was breaking the guy down, and it was a moot point. But I'm not saying that the stoppage was the worst stoppage I've ever seen. But the reaction from some people, like, oh, do you want the fighters to die? Listen, these guys know the risk. Obviously, I don't want them to die, but it comes with the territory. Every year, there's somebody that dies in the sport of boxing. I don't know if these people realize that, but that's a sport we're watching. And the sooner you get that through your head, the sooner you can start actually enjoying the sport. Because not for nothing, but this type of lame stoppages can be politicized, and they can be used by corrupt judges and referees. And then where are we? With an even more corrupt sport. But anyway, that was my little spiel on that. Curious to hear your thoughts, guys, because I didn't hear last night's show. What did you guys think of the performance?
Yeah, no, BD, you're right. I was just gonna real quick. They brought 53 illegals in an 18-wheeler, and they died behind. They died in the, what do you call it? The camper in the back. They never got a chance to make it here. Campa, he's a fighter from Mexico, from Guaymas. He made it here. Oh, you know what he said? I didn't realize I was on the fucking canvas, and I got up. I gave it my all. So that means he wasn't fucking hurt. He came here to put on the show. And dude got up, and all of a sudden, 20 weeks, he gets involved when Teofimo was kind of like hitting behind the neck because it's in close quarters, and that's when he steps in. But the dude was fucking game. You should have allowed it to go a little bit more. Maybe Campa shows the heart of a fucking Mexican, like Jose Luis Castillo. From the dudes from Sonora, they're fucking crazy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I think Bucho wanted to say something. Hey, what's up, Bucho?
No, can you hear? I wasn't going to say anything, but...
Holy shit, you sound... Bucho, you sound way too loud, man.
Better?
No, take it down a big notch, the volume.
Yo, can you hear me now?
There you go. Not perfect. Yes, go ahead, please.
The commentators were fucking biased. Well, we know they're always biased. ESPN commentators. Right before the stoppage, it's like he's taking a beating, something like that. And he's bleeding. Well, yes, he's bleeding from the nose or wherever. Like it's a boxing fight. He's gonna be bleeding, but you wipe that off. You go into the corner, you wipe that off, and you continue. But like they're getting now scared of blood. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying, man. It's what I'm saying. They're thinking that. I mean, that's a straw man if I ever heard one. Or it's an either or. Oh, either they stop the fight and save the fighter's life, or they don't stop and the guy dies. Who said that? I mean, listen, boxing, every year somebody dies, but it's about, out of thousands of fights that take place in boxing, every year, there's 2 deaths. So statistically, it's a rarity. Yes, it happens every year, but statistically, it's not going to happen every day. Now, of course, down the line, a lot of these guys could get fucked up mentally. But again, that's the risk that they take. And some people
might be saying that considerate, but I think some people are inconsiderate of the boxer that's in the ring and that finally got his shot at a big fight, and you're taking away his chance to do something.
That's
now,
exactly
was he gonna eventually change the outcome of the fight? Who knows? Probably not. But you still gotta give him that chance.
Exactly. Now, listen, again, I didn't want to. That's what Gonzalo said too, and I agree with both of you fellas. I didn't want to harp on the stoppage too much because it was at the end of the day. I think it was a moot point. I think Lopez was ahead. It wasn't the easiest of fights, but he was ahead. So at the end of the day, we can't harp on that too much. What I am excited about though is, listen, Teofimo Lopez has really drawn the ire of people, and we're going to talk about that because of some of the things he said prior to and after the fight, so the way he was acting. But I said it before this fight, and I'll reiterate the point. 140 pounds, the junior welterweight division, has to be the best division in boxing. Now, whether all these fights are going to happen, who knows? Because, again, they're different promotional entities. But you got Sandor Martin, who upset Mikey Garcia last year. We got Batir Akhmedov, who's going to be fighting, I think, next week against a good opponent, an undefeated opponent, I believe, on one of those PBC cards. You got Ergashev. I just saw some of his fights. 23-0, 20 knockouts. Hasn't fought anybody of note. He's already in his 30s. But this guy's a southpaw. He's quick. He's got power. Could be a problem. Then you got Gary Antoine Russell. Despite the last two gifts he's gotten in his last two fights, he's still a big puncher. Then you got Barboza, who's looking for Teofimo Lopez. You got Subriel Matias, a guy who actually has murdered somebody in the ring. Then you got Jack Catterall, who's going to dance with Josh Taylor again in the fall, hopefully. Then you got Jose Cepeda, who's going to be taking on Prograis, who's still one of the most underrated guys. You still got Jose Ramirez, and then you got the top dog, Josh Taylor. And hey, add Teofimo Lopez and Ryan Garcia to the mix. Fellas, should we get excited about this, or are we going to be disappointed with a lot of fights that aren't going to get made in that division?
Well, in regards to Teofimo Lopez, this is what I like about him and the father, and it goes unperceived. But I think they will take tough fights because they want to make the moolah. They want to make some money, especially when you're a greedy motherfucker like his father. You know, he was wearing when he was wearing that gold-plated suit. No, it looked like fucking the Willy Wonka fucking the dollar bill. No, the golden dollar, the golden ticket.
Yeah.
You know, they want the money, though, because they were inactive and they had to pay for all these training camps that they had to reschedule.
That's right.
But when they took the Lomachenko fight, they made some pretty good money. They took that leap of faith. They won. And, I mean, that's probably the best thing for Teofimo. Do something that your contemporaries, that your other foes ain't doing. Take the fucking tough fights. You've already tasted the limelight, man. Don't be one of those guys that, you know, that you're going to die out because the flames that burn the brightest tend to die out the quickest. Don't become a fucking stereotype. As far as him facing Campa, that dude looked like he was horsing around, taking it easy, like, you know, chucking and jiving. But when it comes to the other 40-pounders, like the true killers, you can't relax and play around because those dudes are gonna be like fucking. They're gonna be determined, like a Julio Cesar Chavez, you know, where they're not fucking flinching. If you're fucking sticking out your tongue, you're fucking playing around. Them dudes are gonna. They're going to keep their eye on the ball. They're going to keep coming after you. And they're going to be better fighters than Campa, right? Because if you're rated, you're rated. And if you're good and you got better skills than Campa, you're going to give, obviously, Teofimo Lopez a tougher test. And all those guys that you mentioned, they're fucking good in their own right. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm glad that Teofimo didn't go out guns blazing because I did a little analysis myself. He got dropped in his debut. He just got dropped against Cambosos in the first round, respectively. Mm-hmm. So there's two fights that he got dropped in the first round in the professionals. He got dropped twice against Rayo Valenzuela, 30 seconds into like him putting on his gloves. And the same thing with Janelson Figueroa. So 5 times that he stepped into the ring, he's gone cold as soon as he dons them gloves on. So I admire that he took. I respect. Well, I understand why maybe he was a little bit more patient, kind of like that approach that he had against Teofimo. That he had against Lomachenko. Because when you're a powerful puncher like Teofimo, your opponent knows, oh, this is fucking Teofimo. He can crack. If the dude comes after me, I'm gonna lace him with a hard punch, and that's why I think Teofimo has gotten fucking knocked out and got caught cold. So now maybe he's taking his time, depending on the opponent that he faces, whether it's Akhmanov, Barbosa, and whatnot, Ryan Garcia. Dude, respect that dude's power and start off slow, and don't just fucking go in there rushing because you can get caught. But I think he does got skills, and we're just gonna have to see, because I don't think necessarily that he's got like a weak chin. He's got a lot of like good qualities, but we have to just see him against a better opponent.
Well, the big question going in, Gonzalo, was the power. Is he going to be able, because listen, again, I know there's people out there that skills pay the bills, blah, blah, blah. But you have to admit, if you have good power, it's a big ace in your game. And that was for a while, that was Teofimo Lopez's ace in the hole, the power. How would you characterize his power now based on what we saw last night?
Well, for example, when he dropped Campa, he dropped him with the jab, really. So it was like a jab that he missed, then he threw a right hand, and he threw the 1-2-1 where he got momentum on the straight punches. There was basically like a jab that dropped Campa. He snapped his head back. So he's got the good jab, where he's snapping your head back, and it's a power jab. So the power obviously carried. He's weighing them hooks pretty good. They might not look like the tightest, like you like to say, Mr. BDA, but he's just weighing them where he's not loading up on them, really. He chucks them. He chucks them, and he doesn't load up, and they just fly out of nowhere, and he's catching you. Boom, really nice. And the uppercut, too, with the lead hand, as he throws the hook, he fucking throws a nice little spiffy uppercut with power. So the dude got power with the lead uppercut, which is a jab hand, and the jab hand, which he's able to convert into a swivel hook or like a power jab and hurt his opponent. So obviously the power's carrying with the lead. It means he's got power with the trail hand as well. And is he really loading up? No, but if push came to shove, he's carrying the power still, like in the latter rounds. And if he really were to like bite down, which I didn't see, because going again to the whole point that he kind of looked like he was playing around. But if he was really like to show us a little bit more, depending on the opponent that you're facing, which would demand more of you, I think the power definitely carries, BD. I think it's there.
Yeah, I think, well, Bucho, you want to say something about that?
Nope.
Okay, because I know you have high standards about people's performances and power and all that. So I was curious to see if you. But I think you touched on that a little bit last night. You probably, I'm assuming. By the way, Jimmy, I called him and I saw he was green. His icon was green, and then it shut off. So I don't know. I contacted him on Twitter to see if he's there. So Jimmy, if you're listening, if somehow the invite didn't get to you, just let me know. We'll resend it. Yeah, I mean, Gonzalo, you touched on that. I think the power's there. Speed is power. So he still can crack pretty well. Now, you mentioned too, how is that going to look against the top dogs? Because I mean, it's a den of vipers in there at 140, and I say that in a good way, that it's quality. Well, Butcher just sent me this. This is a tweet that from the Rougarou, who's going to be taking on Cepeda. I don't know if how that fight's going to go. That's a pick'em. And this is what he said. He said about the Lopez fight. Good little comeback fight. The dogs at 140 will chew him up. What do you guys think? Is the Rougarou on point here, or is he underestimating young Teofimo?
Well, I mean, the Rougarou, El Bridges for Grace, he can crack, but let's keep it real. He's kind of he's also fought in a mixture between boxer-puncher, where he makes it slippery and he's not always going in for he's got power, but he's also mixed it up with a little bit of Pernell Whitaker. Let's not fool ourselves, right? He's not just going in there fucking trying to knock your head off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, similar fighters. Speaking of pro grade, that's another guy whose career, I mean, Lopez makes him look like, or actually he makes Lopez look like a guy that fights 5 times a year. I don't understand what's going on with pro grade. I'd really like to hear from somebody who could explain that to us. Maybe I'll try to get in contact with a promoter or manager, somebody that can explain, because this guy has, look, he went toe-to-toe with Josh Taylor. It was a very close fight. This Irish dude that he just fought, he broke him down, looked like he hadn't lost a step, but then he just disappeared. So now he's got the Cepeda fight. That's not an easy fight at all. I don't even know who I'm picking for that one yet. But suffice to say, though, like Gonzalo said the guy can crack. He's quick. He's bigger than Teofimo Lopez, I think. I'd have to check that out. So that's a fight that you wonder. Look, going back to the performance there from Teofimo Lopez, he did what he had to do. Good for him. He got it done. Because he could have, again, if he wouldn't have trained properly or if he would have hurt his hand or something, it's the type of fight where things could have gone wrong real quick. But they didn't. So now he's got to think ahead. But how did he look in that fight last night? He was getting hit a little bit. He's no defensive wizard in there. And we knew that going into... That's why, listen, going back to the Lomachenko fight, that's why all of us here on the panel picked Lomachenko. Because on paper, and you watch the fights, you go, there's no way... I mean, unless he catches him, there's no way this guy can actually outbox Lomachenko. And he didn't. He outworked him. So now you're thinking, okay, he's got the skills to compete against these guys, but can he beat him? Because again, he's going to get hit at 140. And we already saw Kambosos drop him. Like Gonzalo keeps saying, he's been dropped in sparring too. If you're getting dropped in sparring, I know it's just sparring, but it's not usually a good sign. Like Gonzalo, how would you characterize that? When people say, well, it's just sparring, how would you reply to that?
Maybe it is, but you're wearing gloves, bigger gloves, maybe 16, probably 14s, and headgear. So you're getting hit with bare gloves and headgear, and you're getting dropped as soon as you throw on the gloves. Because I saw a clip where Jose Benavidez Sr. said 30 seconds into sparring, El Rayo Valenzuela dropped this guy twice. And if the Teofimo camp is not denouncing it, you probably know it's true. And I really don't want to get into like he said, she said, he said. But I mean, that's just what it is. So it is what it is. And there's a video of Janelson Figueroa dropping Teofimo 1 minute into sparring, and if you tack in, like I mentioned, his debut in the last fight, he's been dropped 5 times. So I'm gonna have to say that the dude, his opponent they know that Teofimo can crack. So if he's coming to you, and like they usually do, I mean, this was like the Mayweather gym, but I think Teofimo used to visit those camps too, and they're fucking ruthless. They're telling you, you go beat that motherfucker up, go get him. And they've hated on Teofimo's father, like some amateurs jumped him because he's kind of a piece of shit, to where he's rubbed out people the wrong way. So the dude ain't taking no breaks. He's fucking telling young Teo, hey, go get those dudes in sparring. We're not going to take it easy. We ain't playing around. So the opponents know this, and when Teofimo's coming for you, the opponents ain't taking no breaks either. They're coming for him. That's why he's getting fucking dropped. So it's not like I'm going to pick up my fucking marbles and my Barbies and I'll fucking go home. No, you got dropped. And that's what they're fucking doing. Yeah, they say, I don't want to play no more. But so what is it? You got to be prepared. And that's why I say, if you're Teofimo, don't fucking go in there thinking you're just going to knock these dudes out, because they're going to be wary of your power too. And when a fighter's hurt, when a fighter knows that you're coming for him, he's going to be on his fucking A game, because that's the instinct of fucking preservation. So I think that's what it is with Teo. Yeah, the power's real. All
right. Well, listen, we'll see what happens there with him. Like you said, the power is real. He does have hand speed. And now we'll have to see. I mean, he says he wants to fight on December. They want a little fight on December. So if they can squeeze that in, maybe Barboza. He says he's willing to fight in England. Now all of a sudden he's willing to fight abroad. Before, against Kambosos, he didn't want to. Now, he doesn't have really. He's got his back against the wall. He can't call the shots anymore. What was I gonna say about that? Yeah. Oh, listen, I'm gonna open the phone line soon, but I wanted to say something about the father, because let's talk about that. We've talked about the boxing. Okay, he did what he had to, and we'll see what happens against the top dogs. But his father, as soon as they announced the decision, he jumps in front of of Teofimo Lopez in the foreground, essentially making himself visible to the camera. I go, it's like, why don't you let your son bask in the glory of his comeback win? Why do you have to? I'm telling you, it's red flags all over the place. The fuck is that, Gonzalo? Mute your mic, please, man. There's a duck in the background. But okay, Butch, what did you think about that? Teofimo Lopez jumping in front of the camera and essentially making himself visible, trying to bask in the glory.
Well, he likes the attention. That's pretty. He's like a little bit like Angel Garcia, Daniel Garcia's father.
He's worse.
Yeah, he's worse. You know why I think he's worse? Because Donnie Garcia doesn't seem to be affected by Angel Garcia's antics.
Mm-hmm.
He just laughs at it and it doesn't really affect. But when it comes to Teofimo Lopez, I do believe that his father has more of an influence on him, like his behavior. I could be wrong. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a psychologist, but what was I gonna say about that? Yeah, listen. What they didn't like is that how they celebrated this win. Like the odds were what 8-1 for the underdog.
I think more than that.
He basically more than that. Probably he had no chance of winning this fight. We were hoping for maybe something to happen, like you said before the fight. Maybe Teofimo Lopez isn't gonna be 100%. He's moving up in weight. Campa, he's a pressure fighter. Something might happen, but nothing. None of those things happened. Like Campa looked like he was a full level below Teofimo Lopez. He was much slower, very predictable. And, it was a good win for a comeback win, let's say, after a long layoff.
Mm-hmm.
But it's nothing to celebrate like that. Like going crazy, like you won the World Cup, come on.
It just seemed that Campa had no regard for applying any sort of being a defense, like being defensively responsible. He was just going there to put up a fight and go to town as far as stringing together an offense and putting hands on Theo. But he was squaring up and taking punches from the counter puncher, and the counter puncher is gonna get you. And when he's landing and you're you're not carrying, but then he's not buzzing you, but then you're hitting him, you're bound to hurt that dude. Because you're a power puncher, you're gonna hurt that, and he did.
Yeah, that's the thing. Look, he was getting cracked by this dude, and I know people are gonna say, "Yeah, but BDA, this is boxing. You're supposed to get hit." Yeah, but what I'm saying is he was taking flush shots every round. Like he wasn't doing much to stop that, other than trying to do the shoulder roll, which he should really get rid of that. That's not gonna work against Josh Taylor and all that. Southpaws. It's gonna. So it didn't work against against Lomachenko once he turned it on. So he's really gonna have to work hard on fixing those things. And I don't know if Teofimo Lopez Sr. is the guy to do that.
Oh yeah, but Campa was doing that. He was just fucking concerned about putting hands on Theo, so that was an open shot for Theo, right?
Yeah.
He made it easy, and the commentators again. Oh my god! Like we're watching something that we've never seen before. Like look at him. Oh, he's clowning around. He's doing the Matrix moves. I mean, come on. At some point, you start feeling sorry for the guy. Like Campa really didn't bring much. He had a good chin from what it seemed like, but he was game. That's it.
Yeah, that's the nature of the game. It's there's levels to this. But you're right. Like somebody said in the Discord, they had to fucking prop him up that way because he's still an investment for Top Rank. They did shell out some money in renegotiating or revamping the contract that they had. So they had to do that. That's ESPN nowadays. That's what they do. But before I continue on that, shout out to Rafael Garza for his contribution with the super chat. He says, Oscar De La Hoya's girlfriend is nice. She's a little hottie. He says, yeah, man, when I saw her body, her face though, it's a little weird with the plastic surgery. And she looks weird, but the body, man, Maradona, this guy, he's living. You gotta give it up to De La Hoya and Ryan Garcia. I bet they go swinging and shit.
Does she come with batteries or no batteries? Because she looks like a fucking.
She comes with a cable you can attach to the fucking electric socket. No, but listen. In regards to Teofimo's, the ESPN thing. I was worried, man. I was worried because when the telecast started, it said 10 p.m. to 12 a.m. I said, wait a minute. How many fights are there going to be? And if so, how many fucking video packages are they going to play? And not for nothing, but they did end up playing the package that they'd shown on YouTube the week of the fight, which is where Mark Kriegel is interviewing Teofimo Lopez Jr. and the father as well. And Teofimo Lopez does this annoying thing where he furrows his brow. Where he wrinkles the brow, his forehead, so he looks like he's really cocky, but at the same time dismissive of things. I go, and now they asked him, last year you were married, now you're not. What about that? How does that affect you? I want to talk boxing. It's like, oh, okay. Then he's talking about how they don't even want to mention Cambosos. They don't want to mention him by name. Teofimo Lopez Sr. after the fight said, I think now people realize that my son was injured against that guy. I don't even want to say his name. We're not even going to call him by his name. It's like, what? Are you still salty about that? And here's the other thing. during the week of the fight, they maintained that they won that fight, the Kambosos fight, and that they get robbed. But then after the fight, Lopez Sr. said, well, now people realize why my son had a bad performance. Okay, so now you're admitting that he did perform badly. But I'm pretty sure if you press him, he's going to say, well, no, he performed badly, but he still won the fight clearly. That's what they're going to say. So they want to have their cake and eat it too. They want the best of both worlds. And somebody needs to listen. Teofimo Lopez, he needs to realize this is a harsh game and you need to be told the truth. Yeah, you can sugarcoat the truth a little bit to make the guy, because that's what boxing is. You can't tell a guy you suck. This guy's better than you. There always has to be an excuse. I get that. But there's levels and degrees of excuses, and the excuses that these people are coming up with, they're not living in reality. And a lot of people on Twitter, I saw the comments and all that, a lot of people are expecting that to bite them in the ass again. Shout out to Oscar de la Coca in the chat. He says, I make stars. That fucking thumbnail, man. That avatar. Shout out to Zion Zelvin, who says, all these stoppages these days are weak. First knockdowns, and the ref is looking for any reason to stop it. I'm telling you, I don't know, maybe they're afraid of lawsuits since that New York fight a couple of years ago with, what was the guy's name? The Cuban guy, Mike Perez, and some Polish guy that he fought. Shout out to Uncle Pete, says some Larry Merchant shit. I mean, not at least Larry Merchant used to call people out. These guys are just robbing the fighters' feet now. And look, I get that's what they have to do. Again, it's part of the job. They have to big up their investment. But look, Teofimo Lopez Jr. really needs to get himself a second try. I don't know, Matt Chad, I don't know if he's really mad. He's from Maine, where Joey Gamache is from, I think. And he claims that he's got the inside scoop on the whole thing, that they didn't really want to deal with Joey Gamache anymore. I don't know if it was a financial thing or whatever, but that they let him go. And despite... You go ahead, Gonzalo, yeah.
No, there's like an old man, I saw a video that's incorporated into the team, and I think he's got a name. I don't know he might be Puerto Rican, but it's one of those things to where he's in the corner, but then Teofimo Sr. still calling the shots. No, yeah, but you're right, he's in complete denial still. He made a little statement after the fight that his son didn't get hit. It was weird. Yeah, but go ahead.
Phone lines are open, by the way. So if anybody wants to call in, and I see we got somebody calling in. Hold on a second. Let's go to the phone lines. Give us your thoughts on Teofimo Lopez, what the future holds for him, and what you thought about the fight. So let's go to it. Hopefully we can hear them. 954, you're on there. 954, can you hear us?
This is Teo Senior, bro.
What's up, man? Who is this?
What you talking about my son for? Fucking dominated. Okay. We beat Loma. We got robbed by the zone.
That's right.
He's back. I mean, I can't get in front of the picture. I can't get my face on camera.
Hey, hold on, Teofimo Lopez Sr. Hold on. Stay on the line. Or if you get disconnected, call back, because I something fucked up here. I got to boost your volume because we can't hear you properly, right? So stay right there, man. Shit. Yeah, sorry about that, fellas. That was Teofimo Lopez Sr., man, and I fucked up here with the volume, so hopefully he calls back. Hold on a second. No, he's still on the line. All right. Give me 2 seconds here. Fellas, that was Teofimo Lopez Sr. calling in. I got to tell you, this is, he was, I think he's got out.
Press 1.
I think he's got allergies
Since
or
it
something.
appears you're calling back into a live show, we are reconnecting you now.
There you go. Yeah, I think he's got allergies or something. That's why. Teofimo Lopez Sr., are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm sorry. Yeah.
All right. I see you got allergies.
I got a little nasal drip.
Yeah, I see that. Teofimo Lopez Sr., what did you think about your son's performance last night?
Fucking dominant, bro. Dominant. I mean, what the fuck? I mean, what more do you want? We're ready for Taylor. We're ready for everybody at 140.
What was the game plan?
Excuse me.
Yeah. What was the game plan, Mr. Lopez?
Knock him out. Saw it?
Oh, man.
Hold on a minute. Yeah.
All right, Mr. Senior, Mr. Lopez Senior, you gotta take some Allegra or something, some medicine there, because I mean this type of sniffing, it ain't natural, man. can't be healthy for you.
I don't know. Allergies on the plane. It was allergies, man.
It was
I don't
allergies.
know.
Allergies. Hey, what
Hold
happened?
on.
Why do you refuse to talk about Cambosos? What is it about him that you just, I mean, he's like Baba Yaga or something. You can't even say his name. What's going on here?
Fuck him. He robbed us. Eddie Hearn set that up. I don't know. Fuck him. We're not going to give him the props.
You're not going to give him
It's about
the...
us, baby. It's about us.
You're not going to give him the
about
clout? You're not going to give him the clout?
Yeah. And what was wrong with And what was wrong with Kriegel asking my son those questions? His ex-wife. What do you think he's Larry Merchant? Fuck out of here, bro.
There you go. Well, listen, Teofimo Lopez Sr. would love to have you stay with you all night here or all day. I know you've got a lot to say, but we do have to move on, man. Anything else you want to say before we move on?
See you later, bro.
All right, see you. Thank you for calling in, Teofimo Lopez Sr. Always appreciate it, man. And congratulations on your son, man.
See you.
All right, take it easy there, Teofimo. That was Teofimo Lopez Sr. Had to be. It sounded exactly like him, right, guys?
Yeah. But you know what's weird too, BD? Even when they said, "Oh, right off the gate, this is the more composed, measured, not so cocky, like father and son." After the fight, they're taking the humble approach. It was scripted. As soon as the fight, oh, this is the new humble, and it was like when Teofimo Sr. was talking, it sounded so fucking fake. Like they tried to like give the impression that we learned our lesson, while not really being defeated in our prior fights, and we're still keeping the same fucking type of cocky attitude, but at the same time, we're showing you guys that we're more, I don't know, relatable to the people. Nah, man, that looked fake too. Something's about them.
Yeah, there's something fake. Now, listen, maybe they're putting on an act, but then you can't put on an act and then complain that people hate you. I mean, if you're being disingenuous and trying to play up the villain angle, then people are going to be mad at you, and that's what they're supposed to do. You can't have it both ways. So I don't know what's up with it. But listen, I don't think they're playing up the bad guy angle, because when they were on top of the world after the Lomachenko win, they were acting the same way. And then when they lost, they just amped it up a whole lot more. But this is who they are. I think this is who they are. They're just very arrogant people. They think the world owes them something. I mean, that's why they turned their back on Top Rank after everything they did for them. And I'm not making it out to be as if Top Rank gave them charity. I mean, look, it's a two-way system. The fighter makes the company, and the company makes the fighter as well. But to turn their back on on Top Rank after they got him to where he was, and then they had to come back hand in hand, it's not a good look. Hopefully they learn their lesson. Because we always want to see good, the best for people out there, even if they might not deserve it. But we're good Christians over here. But I don't think they learned their lesson. So we'll see what happens. We got another phone call here. Let's go to. Don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like. 347. You're on the air. 347. What's on your mind?
Yo. What's going on, BD? What's going on? Can you hear me well?
Yeah, a little muffled there, MMA champ. I don't know if you're on the Bluetooth or on the speakerphone, but yeah.
Yo, hold on 1 second. I'm fix it. Just give me 1 second.
MMA champ's the type of guy that when he waits for the bus, he waits until the last minute to take out the change, and then he holds up the whole line. And then, he's lucky he's not in Mexico, because they would throw him in the sewer. I think he's back. MMA champ, are you still there?
All right. Yeah, I'm back.
What's up, man?
So listen, at the end of the day, I think Teofimo did good. He had his hands were fast. He had good head movement. He did get caught by a couple shots, but he did also deflect a lot. Also, I think he did pretty well, and he had a good job and everything. But at the end of the day, right? Listen, the guy was slow. It's not act like Campa was the fastest guy at 140. So I think it's easy to slip his shots, and also at the end of the day, right? It's like I think Teofimo, I don't think he's ready. I think he's gonna fight pillow-fisted Barboza and everything. And but can we talk about how his dad sounded in the post-fight press, the post-fight press in the ring?
Break it
he
down.
sounded like a Mongol.
he sounded like, he sounded like a what?
A Mongolian throat singer. He sounded like he was doing something with Teofimo in the bedroom before they.
Come on, come on.
Like, come on, but yeah, but listen, though. Right, and they were also Teofimo was cursing, like he said the F word or whatever. And, like Triple J said, he could talk about committing suicide and everything. I wanted to kill myself, but then you can't say the F word online. Like, come on, bro.
Yeah,
like,
that's stupid, man.
It's ridiculous. But I think at the end of the day, and Teofimo was also talking about Haney and Cambosis, and talking about, it was all set up for Haney to win. At the end of the day, I was at the fight, right? I think Teofimo should just accept that he lost and move on. At the end of the day, Haney went there in Cambosis' hometown and beat him, got the belt, and he's the champion. He shut out Cambosis, and you got dropped by Cambozo. Okay, Teofimo, you got dropped by Cambosis, right?
Oh.
So just suck it up and move on. But at the end of the day, with the Campo win, like I said, he had good head movement, fast hands, good jab. I do think he was slower, but
you know what?
Yeah, and I don't think his power too. Let me say this: his power. He does have pop still, but I don't think he has the same amount of power like he did in the Comey fight, etc. At 135. But I think he's gonna fight Pillow-Fisted Barboza, so he could just keep moving up and make a statement at 140. But I still think the top guys at 140 beats him. But that's my opinion.
All right. Well, thank you for calling in, MMA champion. We'll catch you in the next one. Take it easy, man.
All right, peace.
All right, that was MMA champ. Hey, you know what, man? He said that he liked Teofimo Lopez's head movement. I think he worked on that head movement, bobbing that head forward, backward to get on ESPN, if you know what I mean. And he also brought up a good point about they can't say they apologize for the bad language. We're watching people bashing their brains in, and we can't hear bad language. It reminds me of that quote there from Apocalypse Now, where Marlon Brando says, "We train young men to drop fire on people, but their commanders won't allow them to write fuck on their airplanes because it's obscene." It's the same thing. It's ridiculous. We're living in schizophrenic times nowadays.
They don't know their audience.
They don't know their audience. Bucho, thank you. Exactly. They don't know the audience. We're a bunch of degenerates. A little salty language is not going to hurt us. Although we do try to limit it here. That's for sure. What else was I going to say? Oh, we got Jimmy dropping by. Jimmy, are you there?
Yes, sir. How you doing?
Doing fantastic. Just curious, were you having trouble getting on, or were you out or something?
No, I was having trouble escaping where I was.
Oh, so Irish wake.
So I got out. So I snuck out and took the car and left. But anyways, that's not even the point. But
were you at a funeral or something? Or what?
What's that?
Were you at a funeral?
Something similar, but yeah, it did bore the audience. But no, last night, you know what I took away from last night? I was upset about, believe it or not, my boy, fucking Xander. I did not like the ways, I didn't like a lot of the things he did last night at all. The shoulder rolling, taking shots, he wasn't necessary. He just, his corner really got on him, said it was a horrible showing his defense. Yeah, I thought he was too anxious, too rambunctious, to knock him out. And I'm just surprised he did that because he's such a disciplined young man. Again, he's a super special talent. Don't get me wrong. I'm just surprised. It seemed like he took a step back in that. As for Teofimo, I mean, at this point, I'm tuning in for him just as much to see what this shit he's going to say, how he's going to treat people. You know what I mean? Let's be honest. This was all set up for Lomachenko to get his belts back. Dude, you still... he still, that was a jab at Bob Arum, right? I mean, that wasn't a very veiled jab. It was straight up. I mean, when he's saying that, he's insulting Bob Arum. He's insulting Top Rank. And I'm surprised he stopped there. I'm surprised he didn't pull the trigger and say it's because he's a white kid. That's where that was going. But but at least he was smart enough to stop. So listen, I'm starting to realize now that Teofimo, if you ever wondered what Clarissa Shield would be like if she had a cock, well, I think we're finding out in Teofimo Lopez. I'm being honest.
Hey, by the way,
he's just going out of his way to become an abrasive individual.
Real quick, man. Shout out to Rapax Trucking Company. He says Teo Senior sounded like he has the Colombian flu. Yeah, Jimmy, you just missed it. We had Teofimo Lopez Senior called in, and but
I was listening to in the car. Yeah, he sounded like he was sick.
He sounded like he needed some Allegra medicine or something.
Yeah,
know,
maybe
man.
like sit over a fucking hot pan of steam to break up that lung problem he has there. It sounds all
He might have a hole in his esophagus.
Yeah, he might. Yeah, he might, man. Pete, what did you think of the shenanigans last night?
I mean, no surprises, pretty predictable.
Yeah, listen,
but I think he did have a trainer. I think he did have a trainer in camp. Weren't they showing B-roll of him in training camp with an actual trainer?
I think so. Yeah.
But they didn't bring him to the fight.
I mean, listen, I think maybe it has something to do with Teofimo Lopez Sr. wanting to call his shots and them not wanting to. I think they're a little stingy with their money. I think that's what it is. I think they're a little, they're a little on the, they're trying to chew down chew down the prices for some of the trainers that they want. But look, at the end of the day, it's always interesting how Teofimo Lopez Jr. and Sr. after the Lomachenko fight said that they didn't want to give him a rematch because of the excuses that he was making. And then they lose, and they double down on the excuses. They double the amount of excuses. Lomachenko just said, look, I had a bad shoulder. Let's run it back. Lopez said, I don't want to run it back. Fuck you. And now he loses to get Cambosos. He didn't even ask for, that whole after the Cambosos thing, that's what set off a big red flag for me as well. Amongst the sea red flags, by the way. The fact that he never asked or considered a Cambosos rematch. Did he not think he could beat him a second time? Did he know the jig was up? I don't know, man. That's weird. I've never seen a fighter lose a competitive fight like that and say, oh, you know what? I don't want the rematch.
If he had fought like he fought last night against Cambosos, he would have beat him. But he came out like a fucking maniac, diving forward, trying to lead. That's not his fight. That's why I think they at least had a trainer this camp because, he let Campos come to him last night, and that was very effective for him. And Campos, that's all he really could do anyway. So they matched him up perfectly. It's basically a tune-up. It's supposed to be. And you know what? He's gonna have to fight like that if he stays at that weight class. I don't think he is, by the way. I think he's still a 135 pounder. Whoa. But Campos, listen, you can't stand out at range against Teofimo when he's looping that right hand around the guard. He landed that right hand the first round and he kept landing it the whole fight. So Campos had to come forward. That was the right thing to do and try to, get inside of Teofimo. He doesn't like fighting like that. But the thing about it is, man, when he hurt him towards the 6th or 7th round, you seen him start celebrating and dancing before the fight was over. So he's still not processing this shit emotionally, either good or bad. Just do your job and fucking knock this guy out. If he had fought like that against Cambosos, he would have done a hell of a lot better.
Absolutely. But hey, listen, it's on him. When have you ever seen? I think What Repit said this. He said, when have you ever seen a pound for pound guy lose his cool like that from the first round, from the get-go in the fight? That's not pound for pound, and I think he got exposed a little bit as a guy that's not quite ready for the big time. I mean, he made it to the top, but then he fell back real quick, and it's easy to make it. Well, it's easier to make it to the top than to stay at the top. Now, I wanted to ask Jimmy something. Jimmy, I don't know if you heard what we were talking about the stoppage, but I said that it was a premature stoppage. I'm not saying that it was
absolutely
the worst stoppage. Right, but then some people were saying
that, yeah.
Well, I was just saying how some people complain about how if we complain about an early stoppage, the argument is always, well, what, do you want the person to die? Who says they're gonna die, Jimmy? Right? I mean, have these people been watching boxing for a long time?
I know. It goes from standing on their feet to if they get starched out. Oh boy, might as well fucking start, chipping away at that gravestone. Start putting their name on it. It's insane,
right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's almost like there was a directive of above, you would say, because it happened the other day. It started with like a few weeks ago with the PBC fight. Remember that with that kid? And we know what I think that was about, was to guarantee his knockout streak. But yeah, I thought they did it with the Xander Zayas fight too. I thought they stopped that fight too soon. That kid still had fight left in him. It's disrespectful to the dude who's you're stopping the fight on. Even if some guys know they're losing a fight, right? But to them, it's a moral victory to make it to the end. Like Mickey Ward's brother knew he wasn't going to beat Sugar Ray Leonard. He knew he wasn't. The moral victory for him was Leonard wasn't going to stop him.
That's right.
Knock him out. You know what I mean? So it's just, I don't like it. I think like they're just, I don't know if it's trying to help things along or just, ESPN. I mean, Joe Tessia, and again, I always stand up for him because Joe's actually a good guy. Everybody knows him, meets him in person, says he's a good guy. But man, the fucking hyperbole over there was just like, it's gotten out of control. For them to say that loss with Cambosa, Tim Bradley saying that, that hasn't affected his, street cred or worth.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
he said that. I mean, how can you say that? Of course it does. The reason why he's not considered the pound-for-pound fighter and top 5 anymore in the top 10. You don't lose, and then it not affect you. It does. There's ways of losing. You can lose a fight and gain popularity because how you fought and how you handled it after. But yeah, like you just touched on, it wasn't just I needed shoulder surgery and then moved on. I mean, he's blamed everybody and everything, and still saying he won that fight and it was a conspiracy against him, and then gets angry at any reporter now who questions, like says even the slightest thing that he perceives as an insult or off color. He just rips into him. You saw it even with Mark Kriegel. With ESPN, it's like, dude, you're attacking the guys who are fucking, selling you up and fucking, propping you up, and you're being assholes to them. I don't know, man. He seems like a very emotional kid. Yes, Scale Bender.
Yeah, you brought up earlier, I heard you say it, like that he's basically still got that response, like Haney, and this is all just a plan to get Loma his belts back. Like he's got like this pre-formulated excuse already of why it's not going to. In other words, he's already got these like a conspiracy theory where he's talked himself out of it already. And that Kriegel interview went 3 hours. Did you hear them say that
yes,
those clips
3 hours?
Could you imagine being locked in a room with that guy for 3 hours? I mean,
yeah, but you hear him rambling. And I'm not knocking. Listen, he's a young kid. In life and in boxing, he's still got time, so he can straighten out here, but. The thing about it is, you could tell he's just still lost. I mean, he's just floating around. He's grasping for. He's talking about religion. He's talking about conspiracy. He's talking about just like he's just all in his esophagus. But he was winded. But it's like, did you see?
You played sports your whole life. Let me ask you, Pete. Does he sound like a confident person, or when you hear somebody talking like that, that's usually driven from anything but confidence? Exactly.
He sounds lost, completely lost.
You know what? Listen, boxing is a tough sport, man, and like you said, he seems lost. A loss in there's a saying in Mexico. I don't know exactly how to translate in English, but it's about idle minds. Idle minds really do. They're like the devil's playground, like with the hands. And I just want to read from Peter, chapter 5, verse 8. Be sober-minded, be watchful. Your adversary, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion, seeking someone to devour. Let's go to a phone call here, fellas. We've got 650. 650, you're on the air. 650, what's on your mind?
What's up, BDA? So I think New York State Athletic Commission is just going to, there's a fight going to be there, they're going to stop it prematurely no matter what. They do that for MMA, too. It's not just boxing. I think that Mike Perez hospitalization, that heavyweight fight that happened in like 2012 or something. Ever since then, they've been really careful and cautious. But it's just terrible. And, about Teo's performance, I liked it. And, he looked good. I'm really not worried about his chin necessarily. I know a lot of people say he's been knocked down a lot, but I've never seen him hurt. Has he been hurt from those? I know Gonzalo mentioned that he was knocked down earlier in his pro career. Was he actually hurt?
I've never seen him hurt except for the.
Is he there?
He was getting hurt against Lomachenko a little bit, but that's just because of the onslaught. But I've never seen him get chinny. I've never seen that.
There's no footage. I just know that he got dropped in his debut.
I can see him getting knocked down a lot because of how he jumps in. But I don't know. I've never seen him hurt. And I think at 140 he'll be okay just because he has some big-ass shoulders. I know he looks... And it's all in his mind. Like, he's a shaky-ass... He's a great fighter. I think his ceiling's actually higher than most. He obviously has skills, but he's an emotional wreck. And you saw that in the beginning of the fight. Like, that's when Campa was touching him. His defense, he wasn't using his defense for offense. And then later, he started landing more. And he started using his defense for offense, letting Campa come to him. But it's all in his mind. I think this dude is, like, skilled, is just as skilled or better than anyone at 140 or 135. But if he had the wherewithal to fucking ditch his dad, I think he could actually be the best. But I just don't think so. He's going to be connected to the hip with that idiot for the rest of his life.
Well, he credited his father for the win.
I mean, why can't they just add a trainer in there? What is you don't have to get rid of the dad. That's not going to happen. But like, doesn't his manager try to fucking him and Top Rank kind of get together and get a fucking trainer in there? Like, look, you don't have to leave. I mean, you could be there. His job is just to be a. He'd probably rather it that way. He could just scream and holler but like have an actual trainer in there in the ring. I mean, in the actual fight in the corner.
Right. I don't think that's going to work out, man. I think.
Joey Gamache in the Lomachenko. I think that's why he performed well in the Lomachenko fight. He also said he had a nutritionist. He obviously took that shit seriously, and I mean that's a better win than any 135 or 140 pounder has on their resume.
Well, caller, did you see how when they were announcing the winner and they hoisted Lopez up in the air, did you see how Teofimo Lopez Sr. jumped on the foreground to make sure that he was covering the frame of the camera?
I don't want to sound like a KO lawyer. I'm specifically talking about his skill. He, like I said, he's an emotional wreck. His father is a fucking.
But that's my point, though.
Like I said,
but that's my point, because you mentioned about having another trainer. What I just told you, I think it illustrates why there isn't another trainer. I think Teofimo Lopez Sr. wants to control every aspect of the training camp. I think he believes he knows better because he's the father, and I think there's the ego involved. I think that's why they don't really want to have anybody else in there to share the glory with. He wants all the glory. He wants to say, "Look, my son is great, and he's good for me."
You're right.
Well, listen,
right,
caller.
And it sucks because I think if he were to dump his dad, that's the only If he was to dump his dad, the ceiling is so high.
Possibly, man. Possibly. Well, listen, caller, very good call, man. Anything else you want to say before we move on?
You made a good point on matchmaking. PBC doesn't put on shows like that. I don't want to big up Top Rank too much, but they matchmake correctly. Like, we don't see their fighters match up with a guy like Campa. A guy's actually in the fight. Who's not winning, but he's in the fight, and PBC needs to learn how to do that.
Absolutely, great point, man. All right, well, listen, call back next time, right, man? Always good to hear from you.
All right,
take it easy, man.
Campa was a tough kid, but if you look what he does, everything's the same. So that's why it wasn't until a few rounds that he started. Once he really, figured him out, saw his tempo, because he never varied his attack. He did the same thing every time. Never changed angles or punches. Never went high and low. Never did it. Everything was the same, repetitive. He came in the same way, and of course, Teofimo fucking was able to figure that out. But I'm telling you right now, he does 2 weeks of training camp and fights somebody who has a varied attack and knows how to change things up. He's going to get fucking eaten alive, especially at that, because he's no longer the big boy. I think that's the reason why he's still talking about the guys down at 135 and what's going on there. It's still fresh in his head. Because I agree with Pete. I think he can still make 135.
Of course.
I don't think he still has the. He's not the power puncher at 140 that he is at 135.
You know, Jimmy, he did look a little tired, huh, Teofimo, because he lost his mouthpiece out of nowhere. And by the way,
yeah. That's true.
He didn't get punched. It was on the fucking ground, and that shows that you're opening your mouth. And I think somebody mentioned in the commentary. And
yeah,
so
and the ref just put it right in his mouth too. Gross.
Yeah, fuck the bubble. No. Fuck the sanitary sanctions, no restrictions.
Yeah, there's no more fucking social distancing and mask anymore. So hey, fuck it, man. Just if the mouthpiece falls in front on the dirty, sticky floor outside of the ring where people are peeing probably and all that, hey, fuck it, man. But hey, I want to mention something.
Yeah.
Shout out to Dennis from Boston. Shout out to Dennis for his contribution to the Super Chat. He says, my favorite show, Teo needs Joey Gamashi's help. I mean, yeah, man. I mean, they need it's no coincidence that, again, the Lomachenko fight, I think it's clear now that there was an asterisk next to it because Lomachenko was injured. But, I mean, maybe Gamache did help. I mean, would it really hurt to have him in there? I don't know, but it doesn't seem like they want to have another guy in there. By the way, Joe Biscuit in the chat says, I think Teo's dad is self-inserting himself into Teo's place. Listen, apparently they sleep in the same bed, or they used to sleep in the same bed up until Teofimo was in high school. So I think there's been some inserting going on, if you know what I mean. And maybe that's why he's also fucked up.
Oh, jeez.
I'm just saying, man. Come on, man.
Right, he did jump right in front of Teo last night in front of the camera. He really did. Just like a prank, if somebody's doing a live news broadcast and some fucking teenagers, just like they dare each other. I mean, he really just did stand right in front of them with that Bud Light hat on. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
In the golden uniform. Look at me, no. Like the Willy Wonka fucking golden ticket.
But you know what, man? I wanted to say something real quick about the stoppage. Because again, we're talking about let him fight. Some people are going to point out to, hey, what about, because, I'm Mexican, and they're going to say, well, what about Chavez versus Meldrick Taylor? I already know people are going to bring that up. What about Chavez Taylor? Look, Taylor fucked up.
Got his count.
Taylor got his count, and he fucked up by getting hypnotized by what's his name? Lou Duva. Lou Duva screaming and screeching. So hey,
Lou Duva go nuts here. You're gonna watch Lou Duva go crazy.
Exactly. So yeah, that's an anomaly right there. That's a whole big old anomaly there. There's a lot of holes in that stoppage. So we could look at that ad nauseum. And I think we have had discussions about that. But the point is, I want to see guys be given a chance to keep going. And if a guy gets laid out, he gets laid out. They know the risks. That's what they're getting paid the big bucks. Oh, you want to make big bucks? Anyway.
It's body language. If dudes' legs aren't... Yeah. If they're not Bambi legging...
He jumped right up to
it. He wasn't walking. Exactly.
He jumped right, but he didn't protest. He didn't protest when he got stopped. So I think he was ready to go. His eye was swollen.
Well, he knew the outcome. He knew that's what he was there probably to do, too. But still, at least... It just makes, as a fighter, you don't want that stuff to stop, especially when you're responding. And you can tell there's a difference between when a guy wants the fight stopped. We saw it the week before when Virgil Ortiz, when the guy goes down the first time, right, with that body shot, he looks over his corner and he shakes his head no, back and forth. No. He's telling his father, I'm good. And he's basically saying, I'm good. The second time, he went right at the beginning of the next round, when he took that shot right in the liver, right at the fucking 1 second mark, and he went down. That time, he looked at his father and just gave a blank stare, and then kind of brought his head up a little. Yep, exactly. I'm done, Dad. Listen, every fighter, good trainer has that kind of relationship, and they have signals and things they'll say, because they don't want to say it where a camera picks it up, but without a doubt, that was him looking over at his father saying, okay, Dad, throw it. That's why he started running away. He knew it was coming.
And going back to the gum shield, when it fell in the ground and Tony Weeks just picked it up and inserted it in Teo's mouth, I was like, that's kind of gangster. Fucking, that means he wants to...
Yeah, but he's Mr. Old.
That means he don't want to...
mouthpiece.
No, and I recall that 20 weeks before, he's been drenched in blood. His white shirt, official shirt, remember, it's been fucking soaked in blood, and he's let other fights continue. So it's kind of
but Gonzalo, but brother, people are spitting, snot rocketing on that fucking canvas. You know what I mean? All night. Out of the side of their nose and spitting. Some guys, like Luis Ortiz, he's one of those dudes just spits nonstop. No. Some guys do that. I spotted a kid once like that, Mike Tilton. He would spit on you when you spawned him because he was spitting so much. And it's just,
like
it's so, those canvases are nasty. And he picked it right up off the canvas. We're not even rinsing it off.
It's
he's Mr. Fucking. He don't give a shit when the mouthpiece, but then when Campos stands right up, like, I mean, he was hurt. But I'm saying he took a shot, but he stood right up, didn't wobble, and he didn't. Weeks didn't ask him a word. He didn't say a fucking thing to him. Like he didn't even. He just waved it. Like, and Campos is like, what?
Hey Pete, you sound like
give him his count.
Pete, you sound like you're speaking to a
stoppage. Well,
it sounds like you're speaking to a carnival box or something. You sound very weird. I don't know if you're on speakerphone or something.
Like a paper towel tube.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, yeah. Like you're like little kids, when they speak to those cups. But hey, listen, real quick, shout out to Vladdy V for his contribution with the super chat. He says, Teo's dad is the definition of LWC fans. Lives his life through his kid. Absolutely. Vladdy V, very well said, man. Shout out to you. Thank you for your contribution. Yeah, Teo's dad, having him in the corner is gonna bite Junior in his ass at some point. Maybe he likes that. Maybe he's into getting his ass beaten. Hey, by the way, we got a phone call here. We got a wild card line, 111. Let's go to the wild card line, fellas. 111, you're on the air. What's on your mind?
Hello?
Yeah, you're on the air, man.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, indeed.
Hey, love the show. So me and the boys here we're out here training right now. 45th ICBT. Shout out to from all of them. But I wanted to say two things. The first thing is about Theo's dad. I think father and like son, I'm not sure. I guess it's a controversial opinion. I think they can be done right. Father-son trainer type thing. I mean, look at Noe and his dad, and Noe and his brother and his dad. They're all pretty solid. There are other examples out there, but that's probably the most modern example. But I think with Theo, he probably had aspirations to become a boxer. And that's the way he's acting, the way he is. He's like self-inserting himself into that. He's thinking his son's success is his success, which, I mean, to an extent it is, but Theo ain't a part of him. Theo is his own individual person. Like, whatever he does in the ring, it's because of his own accord. Yeah, sure, maybe, his dad can help him out, give him advice, and maybe Theo takes the advice and, gets the win, gets the dub, whatever. But at the end of the day, Theo and his dad are two separate people, and I think he needs to learn that real soon, or else we're going to have a repeat of the Kambosos fight.
I agree, man. I agree with everything you're saying, man. Now, what do you think he can get done at 140?
It really depends, honestly, but I think he has a solid chance of just about against everyone. The only person that's kind of iffy is Taylor, but that's just because he's so big for 140er. Like, how much does he even walk around? Has he ever came out as to how much he walks like walk-in wise? What his weight is?
Jimmy?
Well, Teofimo Lopez got on the scale at 138. So
and he said he was 143. He said he was 143 the week of the fight. That's not much.
So that's not much. Yeah. Exactly. And even Ramirez is a big guy. Like, he's going to be the smaller guy now. Yeah. But that's the thing when you start moving up. He still can crack. But I would not be shocked if I saw him go back down 135. But Carl, you got to understand one thing about his father. You were talking about an individual who was probably his whole life, nobody ever wanted to talk to him. He was that family member that you didn't tell that somebody in the family died because you didn't want him to show up at the wake. And now, you know what I'm saying? Seriously. And now you got people putting microphones in his face, asking him questions. He can't live without it. On his whole life being avoided to suddenly now, oh, hey, this is Mr. Senior, and running at him. We want to hear what you got to say. He can't, and this is power to him. It's what he's always wanted.
He's not going anywhere. He's not going anywhere. There's no way he's going anywhere. But again, he sometimes fighters have a hanger on that just raises hell and cracks jokes and fucking hype man. Just make him the hype man. He doesn't. If they offered him a free trainer. Like BDA brought it up earlier, if it was not a money issue, it was totally free, and Senior got to be in the corner the whole fucking 9 yards, the whole talk. These trainers don't want to talk like that. They don't want to be on camera screaming and yelling. He would take it. He would take it, but they're just too like the nutritionalists with the Kambosos fight. You can't have your fucking mom cooking the meal. It does not work like that,
Caller, what do you think about that?
Yeah. No, I agree with that completely. Another thing you mentioned is the whole Campa stoppage early, and you compared it to Mendrick Taylor. I think a lot of people also forget is that besides Taylor being hypnotized, I mean, after the fucking Chavez fight, he was never the same fighter ever again. Like, I think he suffered like permanent fucking brain damage. Like, the dude couldn't even talk like coherently anymore. He just was like for the rest of his entire career. And Campa, he looked like, yeah, he was hurt, but I mean, he looked like he still wanted to fight back. He looked like he was still on his legs. Yeah, maybe he was a bit wobbly, but it wasn't like Taylor, who was paying more attention to his trainer than he was to the referee counting and really just about everything else.
Exactly.
Hey,
that's
caller.
That's a good point.
Hey,
Go ahead,
caller.
Pete. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Hey, you remember Danny Jacobs and Peter Quillen? Remember when Quillen got hurt, like fucked up in the first round, and stood right up? But they waived that fight because he would have got murdered. I mean, I guess maybe then you could waive it right away. But give him Meldrick Taylor got his count. He got his count. Then he got asked a question that he didn't answer. So at least give him his fucking count, man. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Well, listen, caller. Anything else you want to say before we move on?
That's about it. That's all I really had in my mind. But yeah, for the most part, agree with you guys so far.
Right.
Love the fucking show. God bless you all.
Thank you. Right back at you, man. Thank you for calling in, and call back next time, man. Take it easy.
Yeah, it's obvious ESPN's heavily involved. You know, they're invested in this kid. You know, they want to be in the Teofimo Lopez business, and I think they're talking accordingly. And I think they obviously want a stoppage is the best thing for him, for his confidence. Absolutely. And I mean, does somebody talk to the ref? Does somebody say, hey, from the commission, you know, let's fucking make sure nobody gets hurt out there. Like, just puts it in his ear. I'm not saying some money was passed hands, but you cannot tell me that wasn't stopped soon, quick.
Exactly.
And then you can always ask, what's that? Is that ref's, you know, is that the way he normally operates, or was that something unusual? From what I could see, couldn't find any, you know, like a history of it, like that guy last week, that dude, you know, who just waved the fight off, the black bald guy. He's got a history of doing that. So, yeah, I don't know.
Like you said, Jimmy,
I think it obviously helps Teofimo.
Like you said, it's Tony Weeks. It's Tony Weeks. So, like you said, that's an excellent way they do it. They don't tell him straight, because people go, oh, when there's corruption in boxing, they get told straight off. No, they don't. Everyone's trying to preserve plausible deniability. So, like you said, that's a perfect way. Hey, babe, hey, you know, Tony, let's make sure we go by the book and let's make sure nobody gets hurt. He gets the message. He goes, okay, I know exactly what to do. Tony Weeks is the guy that allowed Andre Ward to hit Kovalev in the balls, and he called it a stoppage. He's the guy that allowed Mayweather to do whatever he wanted in that ring as well. This is the guy that he goes for the A side. There's a reason why he's been reffing top fights for the past 20 years, because he plays the game. He knows exactly which side of his bread is buttered.
Yeah, like he knows the politics.
I think he just counted up the unanswered shots. You know, he's probably just basing it on. He was ready to jump in that fight earlier in that round. He was ready to jump in earlier because, at the end there, the accumulation did come on to campus to where that looping right hand was getting through. You've seen his eyes shutting up, and he was taking a lot of them unanswered before he got knocked down. So, but you know what? It's like give him his count and then waive it. We all might disagree. Everybody might disagree still, but at least you could say, look, I had I gave him his count. I was looking right in his eyes. He was all fucked up. He was on Queer Street, but I mean, goddamn, the guy just jumped straight up. Which is, again, like Jimmy said, if he wants out, he'll just stay on his knee or take his count.
Hey, you know what? Watch Thunderdome's interview with Tony Weeks. I think it's still up. If it's not on YouTube, it's gotta be on his Odyssey page. Check out, subscribe to his Odyssey page too. By the way, he does film analysis over there, 100% free, because you can play whatever you want over there. But he interviewed Tony Weeks, and he essentially, I think he called him out on the whole Andre Ward thing, and he goes, I think Tony Weeks said something along the lines of, well, I'd have to rewatch the fight, and then Thunderdome showed him the screen caps of Andre Ward clearly busting Kovalev's balls. And he goes, yeah, well, that's just one picture. It's like, oh, motherfuckers. Like I'm telling you, this guy, he knows what game he's playing. He's going for the A side. He does as he's told. And that's why he's still at the top of the heap when it comes to Nevada referees. The other thing I wanted to mention here, fellas, we're nearing the end of the year. We got about 4 months left. It's not a lot, if you think about it, in terms of announcing fights. They announced Wilder's comeback against Robert Helenius. Pay-per-view, by the way. What a great pay-per-view. But I'm still curious. When we just saw Lopez, and they asked him who he wants to fight, and he says, "Well, anybody." He even said he's willing to go to England. Which, by the way, if that ever happens and they offer him that, I'm pretty sure he's gonna change his mind. I was like, "Why? I said that? I don't remember that." But he says he wants to fight. He would like a fight in December. Which, if Top Rank does as they usually do, they could probably squeeze that in. But now I'm thinking, how about Tank Davis, another guy in the periphery of those weight divisions? Is he gonna get a fight before the end of the year?
No.
Who cares?
Who cares? Just go, who cares? No, but the reason why I'm asking is because inactivity can hurt a fighter, especially a young fighter. Now Teofimo Lopez, he's smart in saying, "Hey, at least give me another fight. I want 2 fights before the year. I mean, I want 2 total fights for 2022, even if it's a little time apart." Davis is a guy he's only fought once this year, and he was against a guy that really he tested him, and he wasn't supposed to. He was a failed prospect in Rolly Romero. So all I'm saying is, it brings up the other question I had, which is how is there a real skill set divide between those guys, between Lopez and Tank Davis, or would you guys consider them on the same level?
No, right now, I personally think Lopez would work him.
Oh.
Lopez hands, speed, and his size. He's much bigger. And Lopez he's just look at if Rolly Romero, right? That simp can win rounds against you. Fucking Lopez is going to work you. Any of them will work him. Haney, any of them. He's just developed. If you don't have to work for what you got, why would you work hard practicing for it? You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't train as hard. He doesn't have to. He's not sparring the same type of people because he fights everybody the same. He's looking to line up that Instagram uppercut. Thinking,
he's just like Teo.
Yeah, it's just no.
Teo needs to take it as a cautionary tale. No, you're right. You're right. He's not that bad, but Teo needs to look at that like him and Adrian Broner. Like, okay, you're just going to move on weight for no reason, just because you don't feel like cutting the weight, and that your weight bullying guys at 35. You're going to jump up in weight, and sooner or later it's going to catch up with you. You don't have the punch resistance like you did when you were weight bullying. People are touching you, and he's going to get done it. Tank Davis, like you said, Jimmy, it'd be a boring matchup because they're both kind of just like they need the guy to come to them so they could land. Teo tried that same uppercut last night, just a lead counter uppercut, and he missed by 40 fucking miles because he's rusty. And Tank tries it 75 fucking times just to land it on the 76th time.
Hey, by the way, I gotta ask Jimmy something. Jimmy, did you call Rolly Romero a simp?
Yes.
Nah, he's the farthest.
I was trying to be nice. I thought
he's the farthest thing from the simp. This guy takes.
I meant simp as in the old version, simpleton, like a simple-minded.
Okay, yeah. Because I was gonna say, no. Listen, this guy takes what he wants. He doesn't take no for an answer, man. He's like the Harvey Weinstein of boxing, man.
Yeah, I was talking the old version of simp.
Did you see him walking into the stadium last night being interviewed? With his shirt totally unbuttoned. He had a buttoned-up shirt totally unbuttoned, like he was on a fucking beach somewhere, and he's walking in, and they're asking him questions, and he's like, kind of just like dazed, looking around for somebody, and he goes, "I'm real high. I'm high. I'm high as shit right now."
Fuck, man. This guy's insane, man. This guy is absolutely fucking insane. I'm sorry. I don't know.
He's a legend in his own mind, no?
Hey, man.
Kind of like me.
It's better than nothing.
I mean, he's that dude, like, girls will talk to him, and he'll fucking stare right at their tits, like drinking a straw, licking the straw, and he creep them the fuck out, and then chase them around the bar all night until someone has to say, "Dude, back the fuck off."
He's
this
the type
kid's
of guy.
Creep.
He's the type of guy when he asks the girl, "How you doing?" and the girl replies, "Good." In his mind, it's like Quentin Tarantino from Dusk Till Dawn. The girl says something, he thinks he's saying, "Eat my pussy" or something. You know what I mean? He's hearing a complete.
Exactly.
He's hearing a completely.
He's like Philip Seymour Hoffman. He's like Philip Seymour Hoffman in Boogie Nights, staring at Mark Wahlberg with his arms crossed in his mouth.
Oh, that's terrible.
You wanna kiss me?
But he's more mentally stable than fucking Teo is. At the end of the fucking day, I mean, he knows that he's doing that. He's just talking shit. He's just a natural shit talker, and he understands that, and he's just promoting. But he doesn't. like Jimmy said, Teal's just he's still adrift out there. And no one's like,
fucking idiot, fucking idiot, fucking idiot, fucking idiot.
I'm sorry. I'm just really drunk. I'm sorry.
Yeah, what's it?
Can I kiss you on the mouth? No! Please let me. I'm really drunk.
Can I mention what you?
I'm out of my head.
Sorry about that, Jimmy.
Oh no! It's what you said about Wilder, and it goes even further than that.
Uh-oh.
Now that he gave up, the Ring magazine has taken their belt back from Fury. Okay, so now he gave it up, or whatever, doesn't matter. But he's also lost the lineal, so he's no longer the lineal champion at heavyweight. So it's looking really like he's retiring but he's also got till the 28th of this month, which I don't even know why they're bothering doing it, because WBC has now 3 times put out tweets congratulating him on his career. It's at some point you got to say, "Oh, dude, how many times are you going to have us announce your retirement?" But anyway, so he has till the 28th. If he says yes, I'm still done, they're taking the belt from him, and they're going to put it. I'm telling you right now, it's going to be the fucking belt. They're going to have to make it, a vacancy belt, and who's going to fight for it? It's going to be the number 1 guy, Wilder. So think about that, guys. He's gonna fight Hellenius for the WC belts. So, like I just tweeted for the show, it's going to be the biggest mulligan in boxing history. Like, okay, that didn't happen. Here's your belt back, and I can tell you one thing that I know is going to happen. He's never going to mention the name Usyk. If Usyk beats Jacobs, he won't even be able to look that direction. You know what I mean? So it's just ridiculous.
No matter what,
it's just
Jimmy,
how is a guy?
Whether he beats him or not, he don't want no part of Usyk. Whether Usyk loses to Joshua or not.
Oh, but I'm saying there would be the reason to fight him is if he beats Joshua, because then he'd be you know what I'm saying? So that would be the guy you would say if you were Wilder and it was about being champion and getting all the belts and being number 1. If you go and get that gimme fucking belt off Robert Helenius, and I understand some people are interested in this fight because it's the optics of it. How is he going to look coming back after fighting another one of his soft serve opponents? This dude got stopped by Ganaki and fucking Gerald Washington. So please, just please, it's tailor made for keeps his head on a fucking line for Wilder to put out. So if that happens and he gets his WBC belt, he's back as the green belt champion that he held hostage for half a decade. He's just going to do it again. He's going to hold it hostage till he retires. And it's unbelievable. It just goes to show you lose. It wasn't like it was a Lomachenko Lopez fight. He got throttled in the second fight. That was a one-sided beating. You know what I'm saying? The third fight wasn't as bad, but he got knocked out, stopped. And how the fuck he could still keep his number 1 ranking at the WBC heavyweight is so disgusting. So obviously, like, they're not even hiding their fucking corruptibility
Jimmy,
now. It's just you pay us the money, you get the ranking.
I disagree about the fights not being competitive. I thought they were highly competitive, the second and the third fight. Then again, I'm the guy that believes I believe that they actually built the pyramids and that the pyramids could fly. So take what I say with a grain of salt. But no, but
you also want a 4th fight.
Exactly. No, but hey, listen. You're right about that whole thing, the title thing. It's gonna be a muddy thing. If he gets his hands on a title, they're gonna call him 2-time world champion. It's like, come on. But hey, I'm glad that Deontay Wilder train is starting to restart, because that brings more drama to the YouTube boxing community. And you know me, I love me some drama every once in a while. So we got to play the Deontay Wilder choo-choo train back on board, man.
It'll just be funny that all the fucking dudes. It will be funny. All the YouTube community just making videos explaining why it would be ridiculous for him to fight Usyk. Just all the videos they'd make on why he would beat him easily and for all the reasons he shouldn't fight him.
I thought you were talking about Fury this whole time. When I said he's not going to fight him one way or the other, I meant Fury. Like, I think Usyk would. I think Usyk could have a hard time with Wilder. He'd beat him. He'd beat him bad. But I just think that the winging that right hand would make Usyk think more than Fury's fucking upper
big
body
balls and
spasms.
Yeah,
His
but
tits and all that.
he telegraphs it so fucking much, bro. And Usyk has the highest. Yeah, no, I know that, but he has such a high IQ. That's his ring IQ is his best attribute. Like, you know what I mean, dude? You know that he would. Wilder would not. He would be always in too far away. I mean, out too far away or in too close. And he's got the footwork to do it. That's, you know what I mean? Like, so he would frustrate him. And now, you know, the blueprint's obvious. Get him into the 5th and 6th round, and his power goes down. His fucking legs start burning. He can't be doing much cardio because he doesn't have big legs. So it's not like he's carrying a lot of weight on that frame. I just don't think this dude likes to do running. I don't think he likes to do fucking road work.
Jimmy, he was fucking benching. He was benching what, 250 or something like that before the Fury.
Did you see him trip over that leg extension machine? The little leg extension piece.
No, but hey, listen.
Bench, you didn't know what that was. Man, you got shit off, man.
The Sears bench. The first one you get. Yeah, it's one of those benches you usually see out in the fucking front yard of some shitty neighborhood.
Hey, I got that. But no, listen, hey, we're talking about Usyk and all that. Listen, we're going to talk about that more this coming week, but he's got to get past AJ, man. That's no easy fucking task right there. So that's going to be an interesting one to see. But yeah, Wilder at 35 after taking 2 big beatings. Curious to see how he looks. It's almost like the Lopez fight that we just saw. Are you
$80 curious?
Absolutely not. But look, it's like the Kampa fight that we just saw last night.
Sounds like a prostitute. That's what a prostitute asked me.
It's a decent. Oh, come on! It's all you can eat for $80. No, but look, it's a decent fight, comeback fight. We'll see, because he should be able to take Helenius out. Helenius is a big lumbering oaf. He's got to look. He's been working on his defense since he got stopped by Duhaupas and Washington. But I mean, his 2 best wins over that bag of milk. Nowacki, or however you say his name. So let's slow it down. But hey, it's going to be interesting. If he wins, Nowacki, yeah. If he wins and if he shows a semblance of a jab or a little, if he pivots twice during the fight, watch out for the WBC. Look at that shit. Look at that footwork, man. He got more footwork now. Watch out, Fury. They're going to start clamoring for a Fury fight and shit. I'm telling you, I've seen this before, man. Seen this a lot. What else, man?
Probably a calculated move, BDA, because he wasn't sparring. He utilized the Norwegian Nightmare. What's his name? The guy you're mentioning, for sparring in preparation for his other fights. So he knows him very well.
Wait, you talking about Ojak? What's his name?
Wilder used Helenius for sparring. Yeah.
Right.
It's not even sure that Wilder is going back with his boy that he stopped. Yeah, well, no, the other guy, the trainer. Yeah.
Who's the new guy?
So, what's that?
Who's the new guy? They said that there was going to be somebody else, right?
Well, I know Fury said he announced he was going to use the guy that an active fighter.
No, excuse me. I'm talking about Wilder.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. I heard rumors it was going to be Sugar Hill, believe it or not.
Whoa.
That he was considering Sugar Hill. That would actually be a smart thing for him. I think Sugar Hill would, work good with people.
Mm-hmm.
Got his, had his uncle, but we'll see.
But the problem is he's gonna invite him to his house later. Then fucking Wilder's gonna look for the fucking the padded gloves or in the fucking trophy case. What is it called? The doctor gloves.
Yeah, that's right. That's why it's got to be bullshit. It's just got to be a rumor, because why would Sugar Hill, after the shit that was said, you basically called him a fucking cheat. You said the dude was a part of loading a glove, again, which would kill somebody. Could have very easily ran the potential to kill somebody, putting a chunk of steel in a glove. So that's the type of character you think I am. That's who you think I'm. You got your boys on fucking LDBC going on.
Jimmy. Damn.
Yeah, and he's going on.
He did it to both trainers. He did it to both of them, right? He accused Brilliant of spiking the drink, and he accused fucking Sugar Hill of egg weights. Can you fucking believe it?
Yep.
Yeah, you're right. I wouldn't fucking do it.
Both things that could kill him. You know what I mean? So it's just so over what? For what reason? They never give a reason. If they're going to say it's because of Fury, they want Fury to win. Why would his trainer want Fury to win? And why would it's so laughable. And again, he mentioned all those things after he heard about them on those LDBC channels. They were the first to talk about him for the first few weeks after the fight, and then he watched those videos, and then it all came out, and it's just crazy that the LDBC literally coerced the heavyweight champion in the world to fucking go with that insane narrative.
You just reminded me, Jimmy. You just reminded me about how, first of all, Triple JJJ says Wilder is going with Sugar Hill because he hopes he can get his gloves loaded. That's a good point. And second of all, it reminds me of all this time they were talking about the Fury gloves being loaded. The proof is there. We got the documents. You know, they also had the autopsy. Remember that? The autopsy. Then the third fight happens. No, we don't hear a peep about the gloves. We don't hear anything else. It's like it never happened. And all they're saying is, man, Wilder showed hard. He showed that hard. Well, what happened to the loaded gloves? They all just forgot about it. And what happened to that Tay Jones, who said that he told Sugar Hill that night it's going down? They didn't do shit. All talk, all bark, no bite.
How about those costume makers? They never made another costume.
What the fuck was? You remember that one dude that sounded? Was it a woman or a guy? I don't even know. But hey, when Deontay came to us, he wanted a fabulous ensemble. It's like, what the fuck? Why is Wilder hanging out with this? Why is he putting so much importance on the costume for the war? It's like Canelo too. I hate that when Canelo comes in with the dancers and he steps on the platform and the platform starts flying. I mean, just walk into the ring, please. Oh yeah. We want to see the fight.
Yeah, with the Tijuana brass no fucking playing the trumpets.
Yeah. It's fucking the Gypsy Kings. He's got the Gypsy Kings playing there for him. I mean, come on, just get in the ring, man. Like Beterbiev of Joe Smith.
But you know what though? Imagine Brilliant having to sit there in that fucking dressing room, probably waiting to warm up or waiting to do mitts, and he has to sit there and listen to these two fucking dykes or whatever they were, sit there and get the LED lights fucking plugged in and get the cape and everything else. He's probably just like, man, fuck it.
You know what, man?
That's the real issue. Is like, no matter what trainer they bring in, it's still going to be JD's there, not interfering, but the minute that Wilder doesn't want to practice the jab, you know, you don't need sparring, just practice the jab, dude.
Pete, your sound is, sorry to interrupt you, Pete, but your sound is getting worse by the minute, man.
Sorry.
There you go. I think it's your speakerphone, man.
The dude, he's got metal rods in his hands. I don't know if one or two, but that's the reason he don't hit the punching bag. Because you'll fuck up your hands hitting the belly of the bag. So he just practices mitts because he hits hard already. But that's just fucking weird, man. Dude don't fucking train in the bag. He does.
But then use the water bag. You know what I mean?
I think he just hurts him anyways. Because even in fighting, every time he fights, he fucking breaks him. So
because he lands, he punches it with the side of his hand. He palm punches. He punches with his wrist. He hits you because he can't control his emotions. You know what I mean? He's all spazzed out. Why do you think, right, that when the ref's in there, like, trying to between a wave and the fight's over, and this fucking dude's still swinging away? Feels like, I mean, the refs have to tackle him by the waist. How many times you seen that? He's so amped up that he just, like you say, windmills his punches. So that's why he breaks his hands. He doesn't hit with his front two knuckles.
But, you know, it's weird because a lot of fighters throughout the years, you'll develop your power on the bag. And he don't do that. So he's naturally got the power, or does he have metal rods implanted? And that's the reason he preserves them. And he's fucking keeping them fresh when he fights. And when he does, he fucking hurts them anyhow. That's just the fucking story with Deontay Wilder.
He re-injures his hand every fight. But here's the thing. Why don't you just practice the jab? Why are you throwing the right hand at all in practice, in training camp? Get a double-ended bag. Forget the water bag. Double-ended bag and jab. Just jab.
The same reason he doesn't do any speed bag. He's like Mark Breland said. He said, "Can you believe that? He's a heavyweight champion world. He doesn't know how to use a speed bag. Like, he just wouldn't use it because he just never mastered it. You know what I mean? Just never got that down. But speed bag, there's a reason that has been around for time immemorial, and guys still swear by it. Because it's all. Listen, how many times you heard me say about dancing and the importance of good rhythm in boxing? It's a violent dance. That's all it is. You're trying to, you know what I mean? And it's a rhythm going on, and fucking it helps you to build rhythm and use your hands. Exactly. And he just never.
Yeah, he danced a lot.
And he just never bothered to fucking do that. And Wilder has a lot of wasted movement for a big guy, too, what uses energy. But Again, if you can't get him to use the speed bag and do certain like time-tested things, then you don't got control over your fighter. Because a good trainer who doesn't need his name would be like, dude, I'm not working with you, dude. You're not willing to put in the work. What the fuck are we doing here? And again, that comes from knocking out hand-picked opponents to make you look good. You know, when you're fighting nothing but people like that, you can skate on the training. And I also want to say real quick about Teo before we, I forget to mention it all. One thing that you could definitely see, he still doesn't like to be pressured. It's just, that's not his thing. He does not like having to fight going backwards. He's not good at it.
Well, honestly, though, you know what, Jimmy? Honestly, if he's going to stay at 40, he's going to need to fight. He's going to need to move. Here's the thing. He likes to keep those feet nice and wide and counter with power shots. But when he goes to move, I mean, not like on his bike or anything, just to circle, he has to narrow his feet up. And he has to narrow his feet up to because you can't. I mean, when you play sports, you realize that your feet shoulder width apart, you got the best movement in all directions. But for the power, though, you got to dig your fucking heels in and get them the wider the better. So it's that transition that last night looked uncomfortable. You know, again, this guy's got 39 fights or whatever, but he's got 23 knockouts, right? So Campos got no fucking. Look at his record. I mean, 23 KOs in 40 fights, and he's only got one loss. He's got no power. He's got no power.
68%. I mean, the dude's a pressure fighter. You know, Theo, I still thought his power carried because, like I said, it was like a fucking power jab. He was snapping that dude's head back, and he's just winging the punch. He's not loading up. The dude's got heavy hands, man. I was impressed with him. And you know what? Theo's not like super fast. He's actually quick, and I think there's a difference. Right, Jimmy? Quick is like one shot. Boom. And maybe fast is like a punches and bunches, like a fucking, like Macho Camacho.
Yeah, quickness usually stems from motion. It stems from your technique. So if you throw a punch you're in that stance, right? Boom, but you're very good at throwing it from that stance, very direct, very straight. So it's quick. But then there's guys with fast hands. They can be going backwards and their hands are fast. They can be going stepping to the side, their hands are fast. Because their hands are just fast. It's not quick technique, if that makes any sense.
Like quickness is darting, Jimmy, am I right or wrong? Darting from point A or to point B, whether it's with your hands or your feet.
That's absolutely correct, man. And sometimes you don't even have to hit hard. You just let it go quick, and speed is power. By the way, you guys are talking all that boxing stuff, which I can appreciate, but we're really missing the point here when we were talking about Deontay Wilder. Pete reminded me about the designers. The costume, and I remember we watched a video on Fight Week before the rubber match.
Yes,
and we were playing the clip, and somebody the people in the chat were going wild. One of them called those two guys demons, and then one guy in the chat goes, "Wow, you really went there." Well, of course we went there. So I just want to play the clip for posterity. I finally found it. So let's just go back down memory lane and see the clip. Watch the clip here of Deontay Wilder talking with his good friends, his very close physical friends, who designed the costume for him. So here we go.
Yeah, who's here? I know, I'm so excited. Are you excited? You gotta see what he drove up in. You gotta see this car. Oh, really? It's crazy. Can you bring it in here? It looks like Picasso painted it and met Versace, and they did it in the.
This looks like a Saturday Night Live sketch. It really looks like Deontay Wilder's hosting SNL, and they pit him in there between two performers. And this guy, I actually thought it was. Is this Kathleen Turner or is this a guy?
I don't know, but she's on fire.
With that Harvey Weinstein Versace voice.
Versace.
Oh my God.
Wow, your costume looks so great on you, Wilder. Look at your penis.
Look at these dudes.
Imagine Breland standing there with the fucking tape in his hands, ready to tape him up, and he's just like waiting for this. Go ahead.
This guy looks like he's on ecstasy, by the way. Some of that ecstasy you used to be able to get at the mine shaft in New York in the 1970s. All right, hold on. Let's play this.
The stuff Wilder was on when he was sweating to death and fucking twerking it like 3 in the morning.
We met at Ramrod's. We met at the Torpedo Lounge. Yep.
By the way, why does that guy...
Is that Versace?
I don't know. That Christian Dior. Now, I don't know why this guy with the gray shirt has... Look at that. He's got he looks like he got into a fight with a tiger or something. What is that supposed to look stylish or something? Anyway, hold on. Let's keep.
And they did it in the ghetto, and the car is fabulous. Yes.
Well, so, Deontay, you have some good news for us, right?
Good news is
My test came back negative. Now, why is this guy like Deontay Wilder looks way too comfortable with these people? Am I wrong here? Am I too bigoted or something?
It's his girlfriend's. It's his girlfriend's friends, man. She's out there in that scene, and I think she films all these little vignettes that he does. Your king is back, and I'm gonna rise again. And I honestly just think that. But again, like fuck all that. Breland has to.
Were those his designer? Didn't he hire designers though?
Yeah, they made that
costume.
Like, yeah, man.
The quack says the good news is Wilder goes. The good news is I'm pregnant. The dream came true. The dream came true. I mean, let me just watch this a little bit more.
what's the good news? Well, the good news is I think that we made you another showstopper.
We did another.
Yes. So what do you think about that?
Like DJ Khaled said, and another.
All right, I can't watch this anymore. Can't do it. Can't do it. It's enough. But I am curious.
I have monkeypox.
Oh my goodness gracious! All right. Well, listen. Anything else? I think we're gonna keep it nice and short here today. We gotta end on a high note, and we ended on that one. Anything else you guys want to say before we move on? Before we leave?
No, I think pretty much said what I wanted to say. I just wanted to say I'm getting disappointed a little about my boy fucking Zanda. He's only 19. I'm going to credit for him just being over anxious. I didn't like that shoulder roll, leaning on that way too much early in the fight when the guy's still fresh. Just he put himself in a position to get hit too much. He was a little too reckless. I hope he makes an adjustment. I hope he listens to his coaches who echoed the same stuff I said. That was the fight I was most interested in. He's one of my pound guys because he's one of the guys I don't miss, like Bam Rodriguez style. But that was all I wanted to say.
You know what I noticed real quick, Jimmy? As far as him, he had like a growth spurt. He's like taller, he's bigger, he's like fucking Jose Uzcategui size. It might be one of those things where like little puppies when they start growing and they try to hit the brakes when they're fucking running and they can't because they're all fucking clumsy. He hasn't adapted to that fucking his man size.
Maybe.
Yeah, but like Jimmy said, like his coach is like Virgil's doing the same thing. They're it's too long a layoff. They're too excited. They're too fucking amped up, and they don't have any composure. But at least he did finally listen to his coach a little. I think his coach did tell him, like, get a jab in there. If he had a growth spurt, he should be using his fucking jab. You know.
That's right.
Like once you
got to adapt to the frame,
composure, right? You could still knock him out. I mean, like Xander's eyes going to knock him out either way, and same with Virgil. But like, it doesn't do you no good to blast him out in 2 rounds, and it doesn't do no good to have an ugly. Like, just he realized that this guy had nothing for him. He had no pop enough to keep him honest. So, like Jimmy said, he's kind of walking forward with a half-ass shoulder roll. He's getting touched, and again, that fight, no big deal. But down the road, it's going to be I'm saying that's a bad habit to form.
Exactly.
It's going to like you'll see Adrian Broner when Madonna knocked him out of the fucking ring.
All right, I can barely hear you, Pete, man.
Fuck it.
Sounds like you're slowly fading away as you're talking.
I gotta tell you, man, him and Apology, man, I think they do it on purpose. I think they come in sounding well, and then they just say, you know what, let me put a cup over the phone just to fuck with these guys. Is that what you're trying to do? Are you trying to make my life more difficult, Pete? I've had it. People have had it. No, but listen, fellas, before we do go, I want to say next week, oh boy, jam-packed. It's clear the Saturday, man, because we've got Navarrete versus Eduardo Baez. Now, Baez can't hit at all, but he's a pressure fighter. What's that?
No, nothing. Sorry, BD. Nothing. He's got a twin. He can't 28%. Nothing. Can't crack.
Yeah. But at least he's going to come to fight. He throws a lot of shots, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But if you're not satisfied with that, before that fight, we've got Alexander Usyk versus Anthony Joshua. Hergovich is fighting on the undercard against Zilei Zhang, the Chinese giant. Callum Smith versus a Frenchman. And that same night, this is actually at least it's not pay-per-view, fellas. Broner versus Figueroa Jr. I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens in that main event. But the undercard, Albert Puello versus Akhmedov. I'm looking forward to see Akhmedov back in action against Puello, undefeated, I believe. And Roger Gutierrez versus Hector Garcia. Hector Garcia, who upset Chris Colbert earlier in the year. That's an interesting fight. So it should be a nice little card. Again, 3 cards on that night. Pick your poison, as they say. It's going to be good. So, fellas, shout out to you. Want to thank Pete, Jimmy, Gonzalo, King Bucho, who dropped by.
So that's
here.
it?
That's
And
it.
Teo Senior. And Teo Senior.
And Teo Senior. Hope he's feeling better. Hopefully he took some allergy medicine because he was sniffing a lot there.
So we're not going to talk about los chocolatitos left jab like for another half an hour?
Fucking Gonzalo's fucking with me. I know it. I know he's fucking with me. No, but listen, we'll be back this week to preview Usyk Joshua because again, I've been reading the comments and people are saying, hey, this ain't an easy fight for Usyk. If he thinks he can just show up and it's going to be a repeat of the first fight, he should not take these guys lightly. And it's in Saudi Arabia. You never know what those crazy Arabs are up to, man. So we got to watch out for that. Any shenanigans, early stoppages, bad decisions. We'll see what happens. In any event, shout out to everybody that donated to the super chat. I want to give a big old shout out to everybody that listened out there as well. I'm talking about, who am I talking about? Oh, Revolucion. Shout out to Revolucion, who says, I just got a big win in the pro wrestling world. Got to share it with y'all soon. Absolutely, Revolucion. Absolutely, man. We hope to hear from you again.
Congratulations, brother.
Hopefully you jump on the second renaissances there. So shout out to everybody out there. Rex, James Anderson, Knockout Ned, Sam Rando, The Stray G, Turo, Brown Mexican, Suka Boten, Iceman, PG, Triple JJJ, Rapax Trucking Company, The Quacks. Shout out to those guys. Siom 13, What About Me, Zion Elvin, Iceman, Steve Z, The Quacks, Rafael Garza, and many more people. If I forgot anybody, it's because we do have to go. But shout out to you, fellas. Thank you for joining us. Catch you on the next one. Take it easy, folks.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend you.
I'm disappointed in every